Disney and Lucasfilm are currently focused on Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker and are crafting the future of the Star Wars franchise as we speak of everything that comes after Episode 9. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, in case you guys did not know, Disney and Lucasfilm are all prepping for the release of The Rise of Skywalker and are also getting ready for 2020, which is when they are able to kickstart the new expanded universe of everything that's going to take place after the events of Episode 9. That's going to create a library's worth of comics, books, novels, video games, you name it. And that also they are prepping the new Star Wars universe that's going to kickstart on Disney Plus, where all of the live-action TV series are going to interconnect with each other until it meets up with the new Star Wars trilogy. And talking about the new trilogy, this is something that a lot of fans have been very curious about, because ever since the exit of both David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, a lot of fans have been wondering what's going on with the fourth Star Wars trilogy. Now, with that being said, we do know that Disney and Lucasfilm are trying to structure the future of the franchise, and that everything really does depend on Episode 9 and its success of where the future will really go. Now, what's really intriguing about all of this involving the new trilogy is that it's explained that Disney and Lucasfilm are currently going over their plans for the future of the franchise and are trying to develop a roadmap of the Star Wars franchise. It's explained that beyond The Rise of Skywalker and Disney Plus with their live-action TV series is that they are currently focused on the new Star Wars trilogy. It's said that Kathleen Kennedy is currently in negotiations with Disney on the planning with the new trilogy, and that there are negotiations taking place for Dave Filoni to direct one of the 3 new Star Wars movies that will release throughout the 2020s. It's explained that this decision came with Lucasfilm being very much impressed with Dave's work on Star Wars The Mandalorian and what he was able to develop with Rebels and the Clone Wars, and that all of this is moving forward with each month that passes. So far, Kathleen Kennedy is said to already have one director on board for the first film, who will be announced this January of 2020, where it's described that this new trilogy is being complete/redone by Lucasfilm and will not be using the story from David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, which was going to explore the origin of the Jedi, and that Disney and Lucasfilm are now in the talks of developing films set within the Old Republic era or Knights of the Old Republic based on the video games. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, obviously the new trilogy is something that a lot of Star Wars fans want to see pretty much, go right in a different way than how the sequel trilogy was handled. I think that if they could handle Star Wars in a better way, which by the way is exactly what they are doing, you guys may have actually heard about a week ago, that Disney and Lucasfilm are going to reset the Star Wars franchise. What do we mean by resetting the franchise? Essentially saying, let's just hit that restart button and handle things differently than how we did since 2012. And that's exactly what they're doing right now with, of course, this new trilogy of films that's going to start in, of course, the early 2020s. Now, what's really exciting about this is that they actually are in the talks to have Dave Filoni on board as a director for one of those 3 movies. Now, what's really exciting about Dave Filoni, I don't know if you guys are very well aware of who he is. If you guys have not seen the Clone Wars or Star Wars Rebels, he is the showrunner of those TV series, and let me tell you, are they a big success? I mean, when you look at them, you know that Dave Filoni knows everything there is about Jedi and Sith lore. He knows how to explore characters. He knows how to really do character development correctly, and I feel that Dave is just the best fit for, of course, the future of the franchise. Not to mention that you guys may have also actually recalled that just a couple of days ago, Kathleen Kennedy, and a part of this massive shift is to have Jon Favreau be a part of all of these different OKs by, of course, the new trilogy and new Star Wars films, and even TV series that Jon Favreau is going to be involved with every single one of them. So you can see what they're trying to craft. They're trying to really bring Star Wars in a different, more positive direction for the fans, especially for the hardcore ones and the casual fans around the world, in order to also create new Star Wars fans that's going to really create a different medium, right? So this new trilogy, which by the way is not going to be connected to the Skywalker still, they want this to be focused on the Old Republic and or the Knights of the Old Republic era. That's what they are looking at right now, as opposed to David Benioff and D.B. Weiss's version, which was going to be the origin of of the Jedi. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not quite sure what they could have really done with the origin of the Jedi in a trilogy, because if they're really exploring the origin of the Jedi, were there any massive wars like how there were, well before the events of the prequel trilogy, like in the Old Republic era? I'm not quite sure about that. That's my point, is that they were going to do something completely different from what it seems, and that now Disney and Lucasfilm, they want to do something that's going to be for the fans. And a lot of fans out there, especially hardcore fans, know exactly what the Old Republic is. It's a great opportunity to explore many of the different Darths out there, as well as different Jedi, and as well as different bounty hunters. The possibilities are endless of what they could do with this new trilogy, either basing it in the Old Republic or Knights of the Old Republic era. Now, with that being said, the fact that Kathleen Kennedy has her eyes on Dave Filoni for one of the directors of course, one of these movies is a big deal. And we're going to learn exactly who the first director is going to be in January of 2020. Really makes you wonder exactly who is it going to be. Could it very well be Jon Favreau? That's a big possibility because, like I say, Jon Favreau is now going to have a say in the matter of every single Star Wars project moving forward, whether it's a show, a movie, or any kind of other project that's going to be in the form of live action, is that Jon Favreau is going to be a part of that. So he's going to be a very busy man moving forward with Episode 9 releasing and everything that comes after that, such as, other projects for Disney Plus as well currently in the works. Now, the only problem is this, is that the future of the franchise does rest on, of course, the rise of Skywalker. Obviously, we've seen a great example of the box office results with Solo: A Star Wars Story and how that canceled 10 years worth of Star Wars films. Now, obviously, Disney, they don't really seem to care exactly what the fans necessarily think, only if it makes money, right? And we've seen that with The Last Jedi. It made decent money, but the fans, a large chunk of the fans disliked that movie, and they moved on forward with The Rise of Skywalker, anyway, with the way they were handling it right now. So with the new trilogy, they want to essentially take Star Wars in a different direction, and that's going to be their way of resetting the franchise and handling it differently by having these new creatives on board. Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, all these guys that know exactly what to do with Star Wars lore, and we've seen a great example of how perfect Jon Favreau really is. I don't know if you guys have checked out The Mandalorian yet, but let me tell you, it's a solid TV series. You can really see, what Star Wars really is for what it is. It just shows us that there aren't necessarily fans that are just hating on the franchise. It just shows us that there are fans, because a lot of people love The Mandalorian and love what they're actually seeing with these episodes that are releasing on Disney Plus, about once a week or so. So this new trilogy, I couldn't be more excited regardless. I mean, I'm very much curious as well to see exactly where it's all going to go and what Kathleen Kennedy's going to put together, but at the same exact time, I would rather have somebody else replace Kathleen Kennedy, because I didn't like what she did with The Last Jedi, and I'm really getting worried about what she's doing with The Rise of Skywalker right now. We do know that her contract is going to be up in 2021, so hopefully she'll be out of Lucasfilm by then for somebody else to take over as president of Lucasfilm, which could very well have something to do with Kevin Feige, who is the Marvel producer, who is now making his way over into Star Wars. Now, this could very well be a baby step for Kathleen Kennedy to take herself out and to put somebody else in Lucasfilm to run everything about this franchise that there is. So this new trilogy, it does have a lot going for it. It's going to take a while. Even Kathleen Kennedy said in that interview with Rolling Stone is that it's going to be a very complex thing to put together, but things are moving along with these new Star Wars movies that are a total of 3 of them, and that they are also planning even more live-action TV series, which most likely lines directly up with the actual leaks that we talked about of them in the talks with the Mace Windu TV series, a Yoda one that's going to connect to The Mandalorian, as well as other ones as well currently in the works that Disney and Lucasfilm want to use as a new Star Wars universe for the future of this franchise. And one last thing I want to go over is that, of course, The Rise of Skywalker still holds potential to mark itself down as the best of the sequel trilogy, but from some of the decisions that they have been making with this movie, I will admit that I'm quite concerned about certain directions that Disney and Lucasfilm are going with Episode 9, without a doubt, to see, exactly how the fans are going to react. That's going to be an interesting experience as well, and to see how it all resonates with fans around the world. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No, I'm not the one from night to moon.